Hey there, gamers. Welcome back. Cryptic Gaming here. I hope you've been having a wonderful week. So I wanted to go over this healer build. Now, there's a lot of ways you can build a healer ship. I'm going to go over the way I do it. And I'm going to explain step by step the reason I do this. Now, when I'm in a healer ship, I very rarely actually sink. And I'm going to show you why. Okay, so when it comes to weapons, I like to put a weapon on the fore and the aft of the ship. Now, the fore weapon, I am playing around with the long gun design I'm working on. Still not quite real happy with it, but I'm getting there. Uh, Got a damage output of 4,384 on there. I may switch to some of those long Cartois. I have it, the Lagrange Cartois, whatever it's called, the real long new guns, but I got to pick up another set of those. Haven't found any for sale yet, so that's something I am looking for. Now, white jades on the side. The reason I put those on is because they are going to heal allied ships. It's going to repair the nearest allied ship closest to them as well for 75% of the original repaired amounts. So whoever it is that's got the most damage aim at them, the ones closest to them are going to receive 75% of that as well. So I have double ascend these. I'm still playing around with the third ascension I want to put on here, but I've got service, which is going to increase repair amounts by 13%. Thereabouts 12 to 13. It goes, I think, from 12 to 15% is what that status is, but that's what I've got set on both of those. And then the Sailor's Respite, where you have a percentage chance to repair target for 240% of the amount. And then on the rear of the ship, I am using the Hang Ye Pow, and it is triple ascended. You may be wondering, why in the world are you using that thing? Well, it has provoking and a taunted status effect, and you're going to understand why I'm using that when we get to the furniture. Explosive 2 adds 20% explosive damage. We've added shock, amplified, electric, and second storm to this weapon as well on those. So it does a really good job with those. And then the Little Grace 3, amazing weapon. I recommend it, and I recommend you build it exactly the way I'm fixing to show you, because if you don't, you're going to not have quite as strong of a ship. You should never sink in this ship. So let's see. You have Repair 2. Starting off, you have a modification slot of reduced reload by 8.7%. Now, you're going to be able to stack that with another furniture, so make sure you get rapid reload. You want restorative, that's going to be 19.6% of repair amount, also restores severe damage. That's a good thing to have. And then you have Providence Special, 24.3% of the amount repaired by this weapon also repairs your ship. That stacks with your restorative. So those heals that you're doing on severe damage is going to be healing severe damage on you as well, stacking with a lot of your stuff. Now, a lot of these things will stack on a Barque, and you automatically get a bonus on this ship, and we'll go over that as well. Now, I am using on the armor, I am using an Ouroboros armor. Now, I know there's a lot of people that hate it. It says repair your ship after bracing against enemy fire. I've not noticed that that's actually seems to be working very well. We'll have to wait and keep playing around with it. But the Aglemente is 50% of damaged brace is converted to restoring whole health. The restorative restores 100 severe damage for every second. Now, you can use things like the healing forge or repair forge and stuff like that, which has the same type of effect, but then you're tying up that furniture slot, and there's a lot of people who don't like to use type of furniture slot, so you could use Ouroboros. That's going to keep you where you're not having to worry about that massive severe damage, guys, because you're also going to get a bonus because it is a healing class ship. Now, here's where it really gets special using the furnitures. Buoy locker, I do recommend having, because it increases the maximum number of active buoys by 1. So we can have 2 healing buoys out. Now, if you remember on that Little Grace, we're getting those severe damage and normal damage sent back to us. Now, we're going to have 2 active buoys. We're also increasing the maximum health of the buoy by 25%, and we're reducing the reload time again of the auxiliary weapons by 7%. So we're really kicking those things out really quick. We're keeping buoys in the water. We're keeping multiple buoys in the water, and we're receiving a lot of heals coming back in. Now, campaigning screens. I went ahead and added this on because I like to make sure that I have reduced area of effect damage from enemy ships. You get a lot of these DMC ships shooting mortars. There's a lot of people that like to shoot mortars at you in PvP situations and stuff like that. Now, if you're in a strict PvP, you could go with those those white jades that we had on the sides. You can do that up in the front as well. But I do recommend at least having one weapon that you can fight back with. This is going to reduce the incoming burning charge as well by 7%. There's a lot of fire being put out in this game. A lot of these helm ships like come up, they'll just start breathing fire on you. So I do recommend having that. And it increases the maximum hull health by 3%. Okay, the decoy deck says for every target that has received a taunted status. That's why I have that bombard that hung queen. I can't pronounce that stuff. Anyway, it does the taunted effect. Okay, so this is going to give them the taunt effect. It says for every target that has received a taunting effect status by your ship. Okay, it's going to increase incoming repair amounts by 5%. So the repair that you're getting in off your buoys when you're healing your friends is going to increase by an additional 5% up to 20%. So if you're healing 4 friends and you should be able to heal 4 guys pretty easy, you're going to get an additional 20% of heals coming into you. Increases the charge rate of the taunted status effect on enemy targets by 7%. So that's going to increase that taunted effect coming off those bombards as well, guys. I do recommend that you throw that on your ship. You may be wondering where you get that. You're going to have to come over to the Codex, and you actually buy the decoy deck from Command Growth. I believe it was the Corrupt Campaigning Officer. You check that in your Codex, guys, but I'm pretty sure that's who it was from. Machinist table increases area of operation radius of repair buoys by 25%, increases repair amount of repair buoys by 25%. So you're increasing the area, but you're also increasing the amount of heals that you're giving your friends, which guess what, stacks and sends more heals your way. Again, you're seeing a common theme here. We are a focused healer. We can do some damage if we want to. As far as the weapon on the fore and aft, that's up to you. I do recommend that aft weapon to have that one with that taunted effect go. It is going to just really help you out a lot. Now, storage compartment, I went ahead and added that onto the ship. This is going to increase the weight limit, mainly because we do a lot of raids and stuff like that on these forts, and it's just really going to help increase the amount of stuff that we can put on this ship. So it's not going to increase the amount of slots, just the weight. And then, of course, the buoy powder house increases the area of operation radius of buoys by 10%. So we're between everything we've been putting in, we've got about an increase of about a 40% radius on this ship when it comes to healing buoys. So that's a really good effect to have on there. When it comes to cosmetics, guys, that is really just up to y'all. I am running the Mangoden cosmetics for the most part on this thing. If you're not familiar with what that is going to be the Sweet Nothings emissive. You may be wondering, where exactly do I get this Sweet Nothing cell? Emissive means it has an effect. So this glows at night, has kind of the eerie blue glow, like the Mangoden, the original Mangoden. Now, the Flames of Retribution, this is like the Road Mangoden, they glow red. I went ahead and made the repair ship. I wanted to, pattern it off of this. So your patterns and stuff, that's totally up to you, however you want to do that. And again, you can use whatever effect you want to use for your front, your mounts and stuff. I'm using this Ridden Death right now. It's an emissive. It has a nice glow coming out of that shark's mouth. And then, of course, we are using the Cruel Tides. This is the whole color that you get from the original Mangoden that you fight. Again, not the Road. The Road Mangoden is Vengeful Dead. The original Mangoden is Cruel Tide, so that's where you're going to get that. Now, you may be wondering, is he still dropping? Absolutely. In fact, the Road Mangoden, if you're curious about him, we'll show you where he's dropping right now. We ran across him last night when we were running some raids over here with the Discord crew, and it was right outside Dian Sanaga is where the Road Mangoden pop up. That's one of the red cells, but I ended up getting some chests. I don't need any cosmetics or any furniture, so I gave those to one of our guys that had just got the game here recently, and he managed to get that Sweet Nothing cell out of it. Usually you get the red ones, but he did get the white one out of it, so that's pretty nice. Usually if you give some stuff to a friend, it works pretty good for them to get a drop. Now I'm going to come over here to Bag of Fort Houston and show you some heals. I've been waiting for something worthy of this ship to come in and show you how well these heals work. Hopefully they haven't taken the walls down, but we'll see. Again, you want to make sure you have a fore and an aft weapon. guy's moving like crazy here. Go ahead. Looks like it just brought a convoy right straight into the game. Wow, they like just come straight out the gate, didn't it? I might have to be in the plunder for these hills to go to these guys. I'm not sure. Now, most people would have died in that, but like I said, that's just how great this ship actually does work. Can't quite reach him over there. I'm not going to swing back in there and get shot again. Okay, we're going to have to help take out some of these walls. I don't know how effective these cannons are going to be for that, but we'll see. Yeah, they do okay. They ain't nothing right home about. They got a few of these ships back. So with that taunted effect we're putting on some of these ships, that's going to help with it's going to help with some of the kills we're wanting to get. That's the player. Somebody queue up the BG staying alive, because we're staying alive. We took some massive shots from this fort too, man. Gotta say, loving to build, loving to build. It worked great against the shark earlier. I mean, almost didn't take hardly any damage. And any damage we did take got pretty well wiped up pretty quick. Like I say, very large area radius heals here. We can heal a lot of ships at one time. If I get this dude off of me, I'm not sure why I want to all crowd up in front of you like that. It's annoying. That's why it's nice to play with your group, because everyone kind of knows their role and knows what to do. There we go. We finally got us a plunder started. Now, one of the great things about the taunted status is it does also help to reduce the amount of damage that they're able to hit you with. But like I say, it also is going to have that added effect of, you guessed it, healing you because of that furniture we're using. So he was able to keep everyone alive too, so that's pretty nice. Hey, you wedged in there, you can find your way out, bud. But we're going to call that a successful build. We're going to finish farming this fort out, guys. Y'all have a